addressing the nation last night in his final speech as president, urging Americans to stand together and fight for democracy. Watch.
America's exceptional. Not that our nation's been flawless from the start, but that we have shown the capacity to change and make life better for those who follow. Yes, our progress has been uneven. The work of democracy has always been hard. Democracy does require a basic sense of solidarity. There have been moments throughout our history that threatened that solidarity. And the beginning of this century has been one of those times. I leave this stage tonight even more optimistic about this country than when we started, because I know our work has not only helped so many Americans, it has inspired so many Americans.
Joining us right now, a friend of the program and niece of Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Alveda King. Dr. King, good to see you.
Good morning, Maria and viewers. Hello, everybody.
We are happy you are here this morning on such a momentous day.
Yeah.
What did you think of President Obama's farewell address last night?
As I viewed the speech, those with me were having so many emotions. And as I viewed it, I thought about history. And I know that going forward, when people see that speech, it was a great speech. And so without any research, it was a speech that left us feeling pretty good. But I thought about it, and we'll remember many of the things that happened and did not happen. And that was the way that I took the speech. But I thought it was a pretty good speech, yeah.
You know, first of all, I know coming up is Martin Luther King Day coming up, so I just want to pay our respects
on Monday.
So
thank you so much. Absolutely.
You know, I would agree with you. Last night, you know, I went into it thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a bit melancholy, but I left it feeling quite spirited, and I like that he wasn't really taking shots. He took a few ideas and themes that he wants to make sure continue, like climate change and immigration. And I also think that he didn't, you know, challenge, you know, Trump in any real way. Actually, when President-elect Trump kind of, the aura came up, he said, no, you know, we have to pass it with a peaceful transfer. And like Maria said, I was with him this weekend, and I think one thing is so true. When you're president, you run as fast as you can, and then when your time's up, you pass the baton. And you got to make sure it's a clean pass-off.
Well, one thing that struck me was, you know, he was trying to inspire or empower young people. I mean, he said a number of times, organize. He said, lace up your shoes, grab a clipboard. He was trying to speak to a portion of the population to get them to run for office, organize. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that's consistent with how he's been running in his modus operandi for the last 4 years. He's consistently said that, especially if you look at the DNC convention. He was saying if you want something, do something about it, vote. He's always had a cool temperament, and so he's always come across well. Remember when, you know, he had the beer with the plumber and, you know, kind of that whole situation, and he's a cool guy that you want to be around, so he relates to the younger generation.
I was thinking of Dagan. I'm like, what Dagan thinks about this?
I want to jump in on that one, if you let me, because the transition and the talking to the millennials, I think that is very important, and we all need to give the millennials something to look forward to, so we have to encourage the millennials. However, I watched a movie over the weekend, Hidden Figures, no profanity, no anger, no hostility, and yet these 3 African-American women have given us so much. Okay, so a form of employment went away. And so they learned Fortran. They learned new things about computers. They went to school and they did better. So there are some real good messages. And I noticed that the president did address the millennials. I think that's very good.
Yeah.
But there's so much that we all have to do. We need to roll up our sleeves and help. We really do.
He said that in part because the Democratic Party is in rubble. Whoever you want to blame for that, but the Democrats had a net loss of 1,042 seats. That's state and federal Democratic posts in the last election.
Governorships as well.
In the state houses, they are, I guess, at the lowest level that they have been since the Civil War. And so I thought that you watched this speech, and it is the two sides of President Obama that you saw, the one with the soaring rhetoric, the great speaker, but also who implemented policies in this country that alienated a lot of voters, and that's what you saw play out in November.
That did not help the health care factor, as a matter of fact, and there's so much that's going to have to be done with health care, for example. The racial issues are going to have to be dealt with. And so that's what I paid attention to, what was said, and it was beautifully said.
Yeah.
But I was remembering what was not said at the same time.
I didn't love the fact that he wasn't looking straight at the camera, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I recognized there was a lot of energy in the room. But I felt that he was speaking to Chicago, you know, rather than speaking straight on to the American people. Did you notice that?
I noticed that. I did, and I said to those who were viewing with me, I said, he's going here and he's going here. And so we've got to see what the rest of us are going to do as well. I did notice that.
Yeah.
Just to final touch on the millennial thing, you know, I'm honored to be on the Obama Foundation, and it will start, you know, for the most part, January 21st. And I think that part of the foundation will be the outreach to millennials. It will be very programmatic, and we'll be trying to get people engaged.
And he said that. He said that.
Well, I actually said that to some people. I overheard somebody, I mentioned this on the air last week, saying Inauguration Day, that's the day the world comes to an end. And it was a stranger, and I spoke up, and I said, you got to be kidding me. And I said, if you don't like what's happening in Washington, go out and do something yourself and think about somebody else other than yourself. And I think that he's speaking to the base, the Democratic base. It's like, if you're unhappy with what happened in November, then you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
And that's what he said. Grab a clipboard, lace up your shoes.
Stop complaining.
Go organize.